Hello YouTube, my name is Ross, the Oliver Man, and today I thought we would talk a little bit about the Oliver side delivery rakes. I have 3 of them here and we'll look at each one. I pulled them out of the shed. I want to do some work on the 207 over there, and I thought we might as well pull them all out and have a look at them. Starting here is a number 2 side delivery rake. This one happens to be from the Fleet Line era. I know they made them a little bit before that. I know you could even get them with steel wheels. I'll see if I can find some literature and put the picture here in the video so you can have a look at that. This particular one, don't go looking too close at the tires. It's supposed to have, I can't remember if they're 21 or 22 inch tires. I have the original rims. I bought this out of a junkyard, and somebody has put 15 inch rims on it. It's in line to have some work done to it one of these days, maybe even now, and you might get to see a video on that. But it's really a pretty solid old rake, and it caught my eye when I saw it in the salvage yard. I didn't want it to go to the junk, so I ended up acquiring it. I think I gave $300 for it, and I don't think I did too bad. Other than the front 2 tires, it's really not in that bad a shape. And it looks good behind the Fleet Line tractors. So, a number 2 side delivery rake. I guess the biggest way you could tell whether it was a number 2 is because of this windshield. I think the number 2 was the only one that had that. If I remember right, the earlier ones they made look very similar but did not have that. And I'm sure somebody will say something in the comments about that, but that is pretty well the distinguishing feature that I've always associated in my mind with a number 2 rake. So now we'll go on to the next one. Here we have a 107 side delivery rake. This was probably from around the 60s era, the early 60s maybe, middle 60s. About the same time they were doing this, they made a 5-wheel ground drive rake. I can't think of the number off the top of my head. If you watch the Chris Losey and his videos, he's got one that he uses. I also know where there's one at around here, but I can't get the guy to part with it. But anyway, this is a 107, and it's just basically like any side delivery rake you've seen, like the old New Holland 55s, I think they were, 56. It's a straight axle side delivery rake, very similar to something they would have made. It's got this long drive shaft up from the gearbox and drives your chain drive to your basket. I got this rake, it was in pieces. I can't remember if it was, I think it was on eBay, and I put in a bid and I got outbid, and then the guy sent me a second chance offer a few days after the auction had ended. And I wasn't too sure about that, because usually that could be a scam or whatnot, but I went ahead and took a chance on it. I think I gave $300 for this one too, and what was wrong with it was the bearings on one or both of these right here were out, and all they have in them is tapered roller bearings with, they have like a rubber shield on the one side of this back one. And so I went to Napa and matched up bearings and put it back together. I ordered 100 teeth from, I think it was Value Built. It was cheaper to buy them by a box at a time, and it was missing so many that was just as well. The only other thing I've done to use it is I'm a fan of grease fittings, so I actually drilled and tapped into here and put a grease fitting so you can grease those bearings, because I was under the impression they were kind of hard to find. I've got a few extra ends in case one of these goes out, but the grease fitting thing seems to be working pretty good, and it keeps everything lubed up. I had it all painted nice, and over time it's sort of faded again and paint peeled off. It gets used a bunch. This I just have used it for probably, I don't know, maybe 10, 12, 15 years by now. I've had this for a long time, and it works pretty good. I think I still have pretty well all the teeth I put on from when I first started. The thing about side delivery rakes that you see people, when they're raking, you see stuff flying up out of the ground. You don't have to dig into the ground with the rake. You just have to gently brush the top of the ground. That's why so many teeth are missing on people's rakes. I'm even okay if you leave a few little stragglers here and there, you know, more than tearing up your equipment to work on it. But anyway, this is a pretty good rake. The only thing that I've found with it that is not too handy is if you get in real thick stuff, the basket wants to slow down, and then your wheels start to slide because it's a straight axle. And I don't know if I put real aggressive tires on, if that would really help, or if it's just, I think that's just the nature of the straight axle rakes. That's why they went to the offset axles on the later ones. Just about every company you see did the same thing. So I think they figured out that you get a more even transfer of power through the offset axle. Distinguishing feature of the 107 versus the lighter rake would be that long drive shaft over there that we saw. And then the 107 has 2 adjustment handles and a cable to shut off the rake. Just lock over center. That's pretty handy, simple, not much to it. But that is a 107 side delivery rake. Over here, we have a 207 side delivery rake. And to my knowledge, this was the last rake that Oliver offered before they got out of the hay business. And you can see some improvements that they made over the 107. For instance, well, we'll start up here. One adjustment handle that does both sides at the same time. I don't know if that's really that advantageous or not. As long as you watch what you're doing with the 2, you might be able to fine tune it better with that one than you could with this one. I don't know, but anyway, I've used both and it seems to be fine. The other big improvement was, like I said earlier, this one is a offset axle rake. That way, if you go in a hole or whatever, you get into different stuff, you've got both wheels driving, but they're in different places, so you have a more likely chance that your rake is going to keep spinning on different terrain. You can see the kinds of things they changed. Instead of a long drive shaft, they went to this short drive shaft and a clutch here above the wheel with a chain drive. And I mean, just little improvements here and there over the thing. It doesn't have those heavy cast ends on the bars. It uses like a, I guess, a cam follower bushing in here. I've never had this apart, so I'm sure one of these days I'll end up having to take it apart and see what exactly is in there. But anyway, this particular rake came from an auction. It has the rubber teeth on it, which was an option I think you could even get back in the 107 days. I'm not necessarily a big fan of the rubber teeth. I know guys like them. They're supposedly quieter, and you know, the thing I don't like about them is once they get dry and brittle, they just snap right off, and then you got a spike laying in your field. But I know you can break spring tines too, so you know, that's just the way it is when you're working with something like this. Not really much different between it. They went to this rod to disengage the clutch. Same type of over center deal here that locks it out. And then you've got this leveling deal on the basket that goes, and I guess that's to give you a little more adjustment since you're lifting with just one single handle. You can do a little tilting on the basket if you have to. But that is a 207 side delivery rake. To my knowledge, like I said, the last one they made, the last number rake that they made, right up in the end, like in the 55 series. The reason I started pulling these rakes out is because of this particular one, it has a bearing that's out in here, and it's been out for a long time. I think it might have even been out when I bought it. And so I thought it was probably time to start working on it. I seem to always just have used the 107, so it wasn't a big deal to get this one going, but I'd like to use it. I even had thoughts of maybe building like a tandem rake hitch or something where I could pull two at once. I thought that'd be kind of fun to play with, but we'll see how that goes. So I'm sure in a future video you will get to see you know, the repair on this rake, and maybe more videos of it in action and different things. But I hope you enjoyed the video with the side delivery rakes, and don't forget to press the like button and subscribe, and we can keep making videos featuring Oliver and White tractors. See you in the next one.